Okay. Hi, and welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. I am Teresa Velardi, your host for this hour with John Gray, who I will introduce in just a moment. First, I want to let you know that Conversations That Make a Difference is available to be heard every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. with live shows the first and third Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. You can listen to us on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. And you can do that in your car, online, on YouTube, and you can also ask Alexa to play Dream Vision 7 radio network. I don't say that too loud in case somebody has an Alexa. They go off. So I'm glad that you joined us today. I am really excited to have John Gray with me, the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And we're going to talk about some of the aspects of his latest book, which is Mars and Venus, Beyond Mars and Venus, and relationship skills for today's complex world. And we are certainly living in a complex world. We'll get to that in just a minute, but as you know, I open with the serenity prayer. So let's take a moment to do that. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the way the things I can, and the wisdoms to know the difference. It is by God's grace that we are indeed fabulous, blessed, and highly favored, living in our greatness, using our gifts and talents, making a difference in the lives of others with passion and purpose, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. And we gratefully say, amen. So let me just take a minute to introduce my guest, my esteemed guest, John Gray. He is the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all times, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. USA Today listed the book as one of the top 10 most influential books of the last quarter century. In hardcover, it was number one best-selling book of the 1990s. And Dr. Gray has written 27 books, most of which are on this topic. And his most recent book is the one we're going to talk about to some degree today, Beyond Mars and Venus. And I'm looking forward to that conversation. John helps men and women better understand and respect their differences in both personal and professional relationships. And his approach combines specific communication techniques with healthy nutritional choices and create the brain and body chemistry for lasting health, happiness, and romance. We need that today. His books and online workshops are at marsvenus.com. And an advocate of health and emotional brain function, he also provides natural solutions for overcoming depression, anxiety, and stress to support increased energy, libido, hormonal balance, and better sleep. We're going to talk about some of those today, too. He's appeared on many, many shows, including Oprah, Dr. Oz, and the stream of morning talk shows. He lives in Northern California for the last 34 years. He was happily married to his wife, his late wife, Bonnie, who passed in 2018, and he has 3 grown daughters and 4 grandchildren. And one thing that I love about John, he is an avid follower of his health and relationship advice. John, welcome to the show.
Teresa, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be with you again.
Thank you. It's so good to have you here. One of the things that I want to talk about, you are absolutely an avid follower of your own advice, and it's important for us to adopt and use the advice that we share for others. But many of us give advice, but we don't take our own advice. Why is that?
Well, we like to give it. Some of us are born teachers, okay? A lot of us want to give advice, and we tend to want to give advice on the things that we're developing. And I've got 28 books behind me, or 27, something like that. These are all areas of my life that I work on. And even today, I've got 5 books in my head of things I'm working on. Like I was back in the 70s. I was a celibate monk for 9 years, mastering meditation. And then I got married and was single for a while, mastered sex, got a degree in it. If you want sex to last for a lifetime, have making love, not sex, making love using sex to make love. Then you have a PhD in that. But to sustain the hormones of sex is all about hormones. You have to have good relationship skills, and then how to achieve success. So I have books on success. All these things are things I needed to learn. I'm kind of the eternal student. And my wife passed 4 years ago. Eventually, I will write another book on grieving. I have another book, which is helping people when they go through a relationship and it ends, and how to start over. Because for me, before I married my wife of 34 years, I was married before for a couple of years, and that was devastating. I mean, my heart was broken. I loved her so much, and she fell in love with another man, and it just tore into me. And it was also my profession at the time was teaching about relationships. So I couldn't go out there and teach relationships. And the woman who I loved didn't love me. It was like really painful. And so I learned how to heal a grieving heart, how to heal. So I'm always challenged in life, and I learned to overcome those challenges. That's kind of my gift. And so I write books about it. And sometimes people say, I think, therefore I am. For me, I write and get my ideas. I talk and I get my ideas, and I counsel. And a lot of the ideas of Men Are From Mars first sprang from becoming a counselor. Primarily women came, and it was like they're all married to the same man. They had the same complaints, and occasionally a man would come. His complaints were completely different, as are mine. So that, in a sense, revealed what's most important to women, and then clearly why they're not getting it, and men, what's most important to them and why they're not getting it. And
so
the art.
What's the biggest thing that you can pinpoint as a differentiation between men and women, and why they're not getting what they want out of the relationship?
Thank you for saying that's exactly what I was going to say next. I sort of am a mind reader, so I should slow down so you can ask me the questions. Because it's like dominoes. As soon as you say one thing, the next question, because it makes sense. But if you have my experience, most people don't have my experience of, first of all, being a monk, learning how to be happy without depending on someone. You become happier by depending on someone. I mean, my wife makes me happier, what I give to her. And now my relationship, I'm in a new relationship, that makes me happier. But without her, I'm a happy guy. I do other things to make myself happy. So I'm not needy or dependent on her for that. But the thing I was alluding to is, if you just have men and women, they're coming and they're troubled and challenged in their relationships, women will usually have a list of complaints. I give and I give, but they back it up by, it's like I'm innocent. I'm the loving person here. I give and give and give, and I don't get back. And without a doubt, they're big givers, no doubt about it. But they don't know how to give men what men really need. So men will reciprocate. They give men what women would want. Okay, so women are giving all the time. So they have no problem giving, although they don't know what to give to a man and what's most important. But their big challenge is how to receive. They don't know how to receive. And ironically, by being a good receiver, basically you give less to him, but you give him what he needs most. Because what men need most is a woman who can appreciate and receive what he has to offer and motivates him to give more. And how to do that is beyond women's scope of intuitive awareness, because they're not men. Being a man, I can understand why men will start losing motivation, becoming less and less. Now, for men, their complaint when they want a divorce is they'll say, John, no, it's one thing. No matter what I do, it's never enough to make her happy. She's just not happy. It's complaining. It's not this, not that. She used to be so easy. I thought like I was a dream. Everything I did made her happy. Now, nothing I do makes her happy. And I said, well, and he says, and I do so much. I said, what do you do? I work hard. I make money. I said, that's not important anymore. It's a certain level of importance. But if she's got a job and she can make money, it's like she doesn't need that. You have to figure out what women today need. And I say it very simply. What women today need is a new skill from men and how to listen. women need a new skill into how to get what they need so they can genuinely appreciate men more. Because men don't know what to do, and women don't realize their expressions of lack of appreciation just kill a man's motivation. So how to motivate a man is a new skill, and the importance of expressing and acknowledging appreciation is a skill. And for men, how do you do something that they need most? Well, and often women don't know exactly what they need most, but what they're so far on their male side, they need to come back and balance with their female side. See, we're free now. Women are free to become like men. That's why I said this is beyond Mars and Venus. So many women today read Men Are From Mars and they go, well, this is a good book. I can relate to a lot of it, but I feel like I'm from Mars and my husband's from Venus. And if you look at the hormonal balances right now, women are basically very low in estrogen, which is the female hormone, and men are very low in testosterone, which is the male hormone.
Why is that now?
Hormones play a big piece.
Why do you think that is right now, that the hormones have depreciated so much in both men and women? What do you think?
Okay, now there's never one reason for anything. All right, so let's just keep that in mind, because people are going to say, what else, what else, what else? But one of the major reasons, okay, is it was actually in the roaring 20s when historically we can see this, and it's happened at other times in the history of when civilization takes a step and people feel more safe and secure, suddenly we feel free. And when you're free, you become decadent. That's the roaring 20s. When you become free, you can do whatever you want. So I remember back in the 60s, which was another big burst of freedom. It's even one of the songs from rock and roll songs was do what you like, do what you like, do what you like. Who cares? Oh, free sex, don't go war. Let's have peace. Let's all just be harmonious. And there I grew my hair out. I wore beads. I became more interested in spiritual things, which are all good. Nothing wrong with any of that, except I went too far. After Woodstock, we all got high. Do what you like. Take drugs, get high, enjoy sensual pleasure, no responsibilities. And I crashed so far. And for me at that time, the Beatles had just visited the Maharishi in India. And, we all love the Beatles. I even saw the Beatles there. So they said, you can get high on meditation and you don't crash. So I said, that's for me. And then I had a mentor. I lived with the Maharishi for 9 years. I was his teacher of teachers. I was a master of meditation. And that only goes so far. You learn how to know yourself and how to be happy. But to become happier, that's intimate relationship, and then family relationship. These are the things that people have done for thousands of years. And without that, something's missing in their life. And what happens is when we're feeling stressed, something's missing, I'm not happy, I'm not content, we will tend to always go in the wrong direction. Women will go to their male side to achieve more and accomplish more, and then wonder why they can't sleep. And men will go to their female side, which is do what you like, do what you want, and take drugs and eat too much, have too much sex, not making love, no discipline, no selflessness. So all the qualities of masculinity go away and weaken when you can go to your female side. It's like it's harder to stay balanced when you're walking a balance on a balance rope. You tend to automatically go out of balance. And men, when they go out of balance, tend primarily to go to the female side. Women tend to go to the male side. And you asked why. So here's the big why. Culturally, see, culture is very wise. We don't want to throw just because there's deficiencies in culture, we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. The enormous intelligence how we evolved to this place of civilization. Women primarily made babies, took care of the home. Men provided a safe security from the outside to provide for her. Now that's out of date. I get that's out of date. We all want to be, I want to be on my female side and love and enjoy and do what I like, but I also want to be responsible and make a commitment and have a meaningful life. You have to have a sense of meaning that I make a difference in the world without just making a difference for my family. That's whipped cream on top. The main meal for a man has to be his work in the world and earn the rewards that he gets. And then when he has enough rewards, he's ready to provide for a woman. But the big shift here is civilization makes it so you don't really need each other for survival or for security. You can do it yourself. And women now having the freedom to go to their male side, they don't need a man. They can take care of themselves. And that's often said self-love. Okay, that's self-love. But actually self-love for a woman includes depending on others to do things for her. Think about in this, and as a power dynamic, even, women are all on their male side to be empowered, actually that's good. That's your male power. Everyone needs that. Okay. But the female power is love and happiness and joy. And that power, what it does, it attracts people to you to do things for you. I could have never achieved the greatness that I've achieved in the world and made such a difference, which is what I'm committed to.
Yeah.
Without attracting 100 million people to read my books. That's attractive power. And people say, oh, you must have worked really hard. Actually, I love writing. At times it's very hard. It's a discipline. But then when I get into it, I bring my female side in. I love it. I love teaching. It's how to find that balance within yourself. And it starts with learning to be happy and fulfilled without depending on your partner.
Exactly.
Find happiness. And then use these new skills. Men can use them to help women come back to their female side, and women can use them to then respond to that and give men what they're needing.
So, John, my happiness, not anybody else's responsibility, but my own, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And when you think somebody else is responsible for your happiness, they might have disappointed you, frustrated you. Those are emotions. You need to look at that and transform them. But one of the foundations of it is to realize whenever you're suffering because of someone, you need to just pivot and look to some part of your life that also gives you fulfillment. Come back to a place of fulfillment, either your children, your garden, your work, your spirituality, your health. All these are different needs that we have. And whenever you're dissatisfied with something, when something becomes boring or disruptive to you, it's because you're looking too much in that direction. You need to look in other directions to find your fulfillment, because fulfillment and love come from identifying a need and fulfilling that. But romance is one of the most seductive things there is. Okay. If you have making love, what happens is you bond more with making love than you'll often bond with taking care of your friends and enjoying your life and doing some exercise. See, these are bonding experiences. And when you have an orgasm, if you're a woman, you bond way more. And so you have to sort of discipline yourself to pivot. And men, when they bond with a woman through making love, it's a massive estrogen experience. Estrogen is love. So what happens is estrogen goes high, his testosterone goes down. He needs to detach for a while in order to rebuild his testosterone. So why do I focus on these hormones for a moment? Women, when they're happy, have 10 times more estrogen production in their body. Mm-hmm. Men, when they're happy, when they're experiencing well-being, their testosterone levels will be at least 10 times higher than a woman's. And when they're romantically bonded, their testosterone level will double. And or go up 50%, somewhere in that range. And for a woman, when she's in a romantic moment with her partner, her estrogen levels will double and literally go so high. And that's what allows her to experience this huge amount of fulfillment. But if you don't have relationship skills, after that, he pulls away. And you kind of go, it's too painful to bond with somebody who's there one moment and gone. So how do we find that balance so he can find his testosterone, rebuild it, and make sure he comes back and gives her more attention and affection, understanding? And I found that good communication is the real key, where a man fulfills a woman's greatest need today, which she doesn't aware of. But what women need more than anything is to be heard, to be seen, to have someone empathize with what she's going, with someone to respect what are her most important needs. And what I found is he can't learn that until he can hear her. And so he has to have good listening skills, and he can't know until she reveals to him what's inside of her. And you'll hear a lot of things in the past where they'll say, hey, men are not like mind readers, that you have to let them know what you like. But women have never been taught how to communicate what you want without sounding like he's not doing enough. These are new skills. These are massively simple once you grab them. But as soon as you start to explain them, people say, oh, this is just sexism. This is ridiculous, because we're not really that different, when actually we're more different than we can imagine. And that's why this is a big book. I mean, it literally explains the biology of women. And I thought it was so funny when they asked the Supreme Court Justice, how do you define a woman? And she said, you need to have a biologist. Well, here's a book on biology and neurophysiology and the brain and the hormone. It's like all there.
She could have just said, ask John Gray. He'll tell you.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And how to be happy in this new world. You see, culture, back to one of the things you said, is why have we gone out of balance? One reason, okay, there's others, But the key one is we lived in a world where men, if you want to get laid and you want to be happy, you want a woman to love you, you have to have a job, you have to make money, and you have to create safety for her to do what her physiology does, which is making babies and nurturing. Because when you're feeding a baby and when you feel safe and dependent on your partner, you make huge amounts of estrogen. Now, I'm not saying women have to be in that place in order to be happy today. They have to find another reason why a man can make them really happy. And the way to communicate, and if you're not clear about that, you tend to just sabotage, because women will go to complaining. Complaining never works. And you go, well, if I'm in pain, how do I communicate to him? Find the things that are most important. And so if you're sick, you go to a doctor who says, oh, you're missing vitamin D. So you have to have somebody help you identify. And what I'm pointing out is if your relationships aren't working, come to me and I'll identify what's missing. And you go, well, I don't care about that. I go, you don't know what would be good for you. Just like somebody says, I don't know that exercise or sunshine is important for me.
Right.
No, you have to. And what we do is when we suffer and we experience dissatisfaction in our life, that's the first step of transformation, is to recognize I'm having a problem and I don't know what I'm missing. I think I do, but it's not working. I need some help here. So that's why I'm completely dedicated my life to doing this, in spite of the reality is to a great extent, I have been canceled for 22 years. I was the biggest selling author in the world for the decade of the 90s. And it was so big. And then it got too big. And the narrative, the feminist narrative and the university narrative that men and women are the same, and we've only been socialized to be different. Actually, we have been socialized throughout history to support healthy hormone production in men and healthy hormone production in women, to create a civilization where now we're free to be, women can be more masculine, men can be more feminine, but we have to then learn, if I'm a man, to become more feminine, I'll just become lazy and addicted if I don't also have responsibilities. And for women to understand, you can do it all, and then you feel overwhelmed, like I have no time for me, and you don't find yourself able to fall in love with a man. No man is good enough, or you fall in love with the wrong man. So we're out of balance.
I know these things. Ask me how I know these things. We're going to have to take a break, John. I hate to break up this time with you at this point, but we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes, and I have some people that are asking me questions. We'll get to them when we come back from the break. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Canavis, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
We're back with John Gray. I love that. Let life flow. It kind of like leads you into like a meditation area.
You know,
Right?
your prayer at the beginning put me in such a positive state. If people could just understand how powerful that is, to just go into that and feel the gratitude of what we have in our lives.
Yeah.
I remember as a young man teaching develop your full mental potential through meditation, and we would have these conferences where we invite and give awards to people who make a real difference. And they would always give a talk, and we say, what is the secret of your success? And they'd always say someone they're grateful to. And some people would grumble afterwards, and they'd say, well, you know, they had a lot to be grateful for, but a lot of them didn't. You know, some of the most successful people in the world lost a parent before they were 10 years old. That's statistical. My own childhood, you know, my brothers were so jealous of me. They would throw me off the roof. They throw me into the fires. They would bury me alive. You know, I've been through the ringer because they were jealous of my mother's love for me. You know, I think I fell out of a tree when I was young and had a massive concussion. And I think she felt a little bit more tender towards me, but they really got, and later on she said, well, Johnny just makes you love him more. It was a good balance of masculine and feminine, even as a child. But see, to understand how hormones, you see, if you're worrying, you're going to make certain hormones and you'll continue worrying. If you're someone supporting you and you feel safe, you're going to make different hormones. If you're feeling desire to pledge your life to someone, to make love with them, a different set of hormones get produced. So what happens is what you think, your attitude, and what you do and how you relate to others controls your hormones.
Right.
And once negative hormones, well, actually there's no negative hormone, there's just hormones out of balance. If your hormones go out of balance due to too much on one side or the other for you, then research shows cortisol levels will be produced. Cortisol is the stress hormone, which changes your ability to be free. It puts you into a conditioned state, a defensive state, and you can literally measure, and your heart is not open. So if you're in a defensive state, your heart's not open, and you're in a fight or flight, which is called arguing with your spouse or being unhappy and feeling like a victim in life. Okay, this is, you know, in the Bible, there's a great phrase: those who have more will be given more, and those who have less will be given less. It's attitude. It's what you have, to be grateful for what you have and have the motivation to create more. Nothing wrong with that. So having said that, hormones affect everything, particularly the attraction between men and women. Now, today, where we have all this identity politics, I just want people to know a boy or girl literally does not have the hormones to feel attraction to the opposite sex, to even know what their sexual identity is. We don't have the hormones. It's at puberty where, if it's not interrupted earlier, if you molest a child, this all gets confused. Okay, it gets reversed. But a child who's not molested, and you can be molested not just sexually, you can be molested by a smothering mother, for example, or an absent father, or a violent father. You know, so many women have who choose not to be with men when they had a traumatic experience of an absent or unhappy father and a mother who's not happy with him. So we have these interruptions, but the normal development of hormones biologically is at puberty, a boy will have 10 times more testosterone. That's what creates a sexual identity and begins to create attraction to the opposite sex and realize I'm a male. Before that, males might be dangerous, so I feel like I'm more of a girl. See, this whole identity thing is complete child abuse if it's done before puberty. And at puberty, you want to give boys, which all traditions have done in the past, the challenges necessary at puberty so they can experience the integration of that testosterone. And for girls at puberty, that's when they can start having their period, which causes a huge amount of estrogen and attraction to males, unless males are unsafe before. So to be talking about sexual identity, to even be talking about sex before puberty is completely outrageous. You know, when your child says, where did I come from? They don't need to talk on sex. You say, oh, we were in LA when you were at the hospital. That's it. You know, you don't give all the details and everything. And particularly a stranger should never do that. Okay, you should never let a stranger expose your child to that. And it's very, very confusing to a child to think you can choose to be this or that. That's nonsense. And even as a teenager, you need to experience activities for males that boost that stimulates that new testosterone, which is up there, because you can dampen it by having him do more female activities. See, that's my whole message is, if you're a woman too much on your male side, all you have to do is balance it by creating time to do things that create your female side. Exactly. And now you start to integrate. And a marriage can do that so beautifully, because a monogamous marriage, which means that I only bond in that very special way with her, that gives her a sense of security, it's safety that allows her estrogen to stay up rather than always going up and down, which tends to happen for women. As a therapist, I see it every day. They can be moody, they can swing, they can not be happy, they don't sleep well. We have to realize not sleeping well, 80% of the population takes a medication for not sleeping. Okay. Yeah. It's just like, whoa, we are so out of balance. And a big part of that is what we can see is that your body functions in a healthy way when you're feeling happy and loving, and also you're feeling commitment and motivation. This is why you'll see in a lot of books on success. I just did a show on Think and Grow Rich. And even in that book, these very successful men they all talked about sex sublimation, but nobody knows what that means. Well, I'll tell you what it means. I have to do private classes for men or coaching on this, which is there's 3 levels of sex sublimation. One is you never have sex or masturbation unless it's with someone you love and loves you. Mm-hmm. Now, biologically, this is proven. See, I'm not just talking morality here. I don't judge people, but we have gotten in this. We are in a world right now, Sodom and Gomorrah. There's decadence everywhere. It's just do what you like, do what feels good. It's what I feel to do. No, I feel to eat a bucket of ice cream, but if I do, I'll get fat.
Hello.
Freedom has certain consequences, and we need to recognize those instead of saying everything's okay. Everything's not okay for your soul and for your spirit and for your purpose in life. And how do you know you're out of balance? Is you suffer, you're suffering, you're not finding love, you're not finding happiness, you're not finding success in your life to achieve the goals that are important to you. These are all like, whoa, that's missing for everybody. I mean, there's a lot of rich people even who are just not happy. There's divorce level, you see these billionaires who get divorces, what's going on here is that so many people become rich and famous by being corrupt to their own spirit. They sell out to the devil, so to speak. That means just act out of integrity. Yeah. Even for myself, I just thank my wife, Bonnie, because when she had 2 children from another man, before she was married before, and I wanted to have a child. So she said, no, I don't want to have more children, have a man leave me and have to do that by myself. That's just too stressful. So I said, honey, I promise I'll never leave you. Yeah, that's what they all say. I said, no, not only will I not leave you, but I will do 50-50 of taking care of the children. Wow. I made that commitment to her on my knees, I promise you. And then she said, okay, I believe you. Now, because I made that promise, Once Men Are From Mars became the biggest selling book in the world. I had so many speaking opportunities, huge amounts of money would come from them. Whatever. You got to go, hey, I don't want to waste that money. I could just go do that. I could do that. And she said 50-50. And so it held me back, but it only enriched my success because I forced me to walk my talk, so to speak. Yes. We talked about that, is that people who are authentic, who do what they say, that is what makes you more trustable by others. Right. Other people can trust you more.
And that's huge on both sides of the equation. I mean, you have to have that in a relationship: authenticity, integrity, trust, all the things that make up great relationships that much of which I've learned from reading your books. So, and I want to ask you about, as you're talking about hormones, what about oxytocin? Now, I know that women experience oxytocin highs, like with childbirth and breastfeeding and other things that only women can do. But what about oxytocin, and how do men experience that happiness hormone?
So there's a whole history in oxytocin. It's pretty common knowledge now that oxytocin lowers stress. It's the safety hormone. Too much safety in men makes them passive. Mm-hmm. And they actually did research showing that oxytocin goes up, testosterone starts to go down. Men need a little challenge. They need testosterone, and then they need some safety, and then they have to come back to challenge and testosterone. Mm-hmm. What makes men feel most testosterone oriented and in balance is reward. I worked, I got rewarded, and then I rest. That's the young man. I work, I got rewarded, and I take time off for my female side. Mm-hmm. Then I work, I got rewarded, I take off time, I relax, I rebuild my testosterone, and then I take care of my wife and my family.
Yeah.
But for a man to be motivated to take care of his wife and his family, to take care of a woman and serve her, is not serving her all the time. I have to serve myself. I do my work. I serve you. I do all the world. But then she's the cherry on top. She's the dessert. Why am I doing it all for? Is there's another fulfillment that I get by providing something of significance for her. And it used to be culture made it significant for a man to go to job, make money. Women really appreciated that and so forth. But once they can make money, it's not a need. So you can't really feel deep love when you don't feel the deep need. You have to feel the hunger for something you can't do for yourself, and he can provide that. Well, what a man can provide that a woman can't do for herself is be an amazing, safe listener. So oxytocin, I was talking about it back in the 90s. At first, it was discovered in year 2000 with research. But what I noticed when I was observing all the differences between men and women is that when a woman had a baby carriage and a baby in the mall, I used to just watch women in the malls, watch men in the mall. There's a whole Broadway show of humor just about men and women in the shopping centers. Yeah. So, but what you'll see is she's pushing the baby, and so many women are attracted to that, and their faces will glow. That glow, oh, sweet, how beautiful, cute. Oh, I want to hold the baby. I want to hold the baby.
Yeah.
That's oxytocin.
Yes.
And that oxytocin created a smile. And the men, did you see the men running over to the baby? Now, the feminists will say, oh, he just hasn't been cultured for that. I said, no, it's biology. Yeah. There's no big payoff for men to feel those hormones. Now, we can learn to enjoy those hormones, and there'll be like a woman's body that requires those hormones. Having children and responsible for my children did produce more female hormones. Now, you can look at statistics for that. A single man has the highest testosterone. A man in a committed relationship has drops. The man who's married, it drops again. The man who has children, it drops again. Now, that's the national average. For me, at every stage, my testosterone went higher and higher. Where at 70 years old, it's 50% higher than I'm a young man, because I use the communication techniques. I take care of my children, but I make sure my wife truly appreciates that. Okay. So she appreciates that by saying, I'm taking care of the kids today. You go shopping, go do things that you enjoy doing, that you like doing. You can't, not that I was controlling her, but encouraging her. Don't do anything responsible for other people. Do what you need, what you like, while I take care of my children. So what's interesting is, even when it comes to parenting, most children bond more with their mothers than their fathers. Now, ideally, that is the historical way it goes. Okay, boys would sleep with their mother in the family, and the men would be in another tent, another house, until their puberty. And then the men would come and rip the children away from the mother. And that was a whole scene that, in some cultures, where it's dramatic, even though the mother knows it's time for him to find his masculinity.
Yeah.
You know, in American Indians, that's when you go on a vision quest. You fast, you go out and you have to live alone. You can't talk.
In not talking. The walkabout in Australia.
You do your walkabout. And not talking. See, everybody thinks communication is about both people talking. No, it's about her talking way more and him listening way more. Him staying cool, calm, non-defensive. And if you spend 7 days without talking to anybody, which I've done all these things. Every year I fast for 40 days. Don't talk. I have a mask over my eyes. See, these are things, not talking, not depending on anybody but yourself. It's highly important for men to experience their masculinity. Mm-hmm. And getting boys, for example, to talk about their feelings only raises estrogen. This is the wrong direction we're going in. Now, you never shame a child if they have feelings, but then, just like my dog, if it's biting me, I give it something else to chew on. Okay. I don't make it wrong. I just divert the attention. A little boy who's too feminine, crying, upset, you don't make him wrong, but you might even validate to a certain extent, but then you give him something to feel his masculine energy again. Mm-hmm. We have to mold these children into doing behaviors and activities that will support the biological destiny which
Right.
is if you're a male and you have low testosterone, your stress levels will be higher. That is proven. You even have heart attack. The only way a man can have a heart attack is when his estrogen is high and his testosterone is very low. They don't tell you that because taking testosterone doesn't solve the problem. You have to make the testosterone.
Yes,
That's for men.
exactly.
It's not cholesterol. It's not making enough testosterone. And it's not just making testosterone, but it's the attitude. It's the mindset. It's the relationship with the world that generates that testosterone, which causes men to retire, stop working. And I'm not saying you can't wind down if you're a guy, but you've got to have challenges to work. If you don't work separate from your family and your spouse, then you're not going to make enough testosterone to stay alive. And so libido is something very, very important. My libido is higher now at 70 than it was when I was a young guy, and it was pretty high then. Yeah. But I've learned to master that. But for the men listening, I just want them to know what the research teaches us now is basically, if you only make love with the woman, same woman, you're dedicated to her, what happens is your body will make a hormone called prolactin. Prolactin frees you from sexual obsession. That was nature giving you the monogamy commitment hormone that allows you to only be turned on to your partner, but it has to continue to grow to where, I'm 70 years old with that. I can't even be turned on by anything other than my partner. And I'm always able to be turned on by her. That's and why is arousal so important? Because arousal in a man is his testosterone going up in her presence. That will raise her estrogen. There's research showing that when a man's producing the pheromones in response to her estrogen levels will go higher. That's another way he can bring her back to her female side. Another way for a man is when he has high testosterone in her presence. That will only occur at the beginning of a relationship because there's newness. Newness is high dopamine will raise his testosterone, but it doesn't sustain the high testosterone. You have to have the newness there or the danger there, the challenge there to pump your testosterone up. But in a marriage, familiarity sets in, routine sets in, and that doesn't produce high dopamine. And then if you're dependent on high dopamine for your testosterone, you'll have no libido. And so then you turn to porn. But if what I've done, what I teach is how without the high dopamine, without the newness, how to keep your testosterone levels high for your partner. And one of the vital ingredients I say, which is not that popular with everybody unless they understand the concept here, the research shows that men, if they make love on Saturday night and they don't have sex or they don't ejaculate, you can have sex without ejaculating. But if you don't ejaculate for 6 days, on the 7th day, your testosterone becomes 50% higher.
Wow.
Because I have regular sex, but each time I don't ejaculate, I can have a lot more sex, which is fun because it keeps my testosterone up 50% higher. When a man ejaculates, his testosterone will always drop back to his baseline. And then on Tuesday, he makes love again. He's now making love with her from his low baseline. Yeah. And therefore, she doesn't get the extra bump of his testosterone being 50% higher. And how do you know it's 50% higher? Because it feels just like when you first fell in love and you made love.
There you go.
And she needs that. Women are always saying to me, how do I bring back those feelings? Well, men, don't masturbate and don't have sex more than twice a week. And then gradually learn how to be orgasmic and have lots of sex without ejaculating. That's something I teach men in private counseling. Just have to teach them how to do it because nobody's ever taught them how to do it.
There you go. And with that being said, that's almost answering one of the questions that we have, which we will come to when we come back from the break, which is about to happen. You're listening to Conversations That Make a Difference, and I'm having a great conversation with John Gray. Please come back after the break. We'll see you in just a few.
Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust to learn her astonishing secret. Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to Conversations That Make a Difference. We're talking with John Gray. John, you said you have a workshop going on July 16th to 17th in Northern California. Can you give us a little bit of information about that? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's about 30 minutes from the airport, 20 minutes from San Francisco and a hotel. It's my relationship weekend where I teach couples, singles, everybody, all these ideas I've been talking about, but then I get to work with couples. I think that's the most important thing about seeing the transformation right there and helping people go deeper with I know when I give a talk, there's so many questions and how do I do that? And how do I do that? And then, I'm able to work with people and have them experience how successful they can be in their relationships. But I still put my ideas out there knowing that you get the really big results when you come take the workshop. So that's available to people. It's Saturday and Sunday, 16th and 17th. And they can go to marsvenus.com/events, or just go to marsvenus.com and go to the events section, and you'll see how to come. And it says it's full up, but we got a bigger room, so they can just click the button to talk to our representative or email our representative, who will sign them up if they'd like to come at this late date.
Perfect. And I also know that you have a gift for our audience, and they can get that at marsvenus.com/gift. And the course it's actually a free course, which is how to get everything you want in relationships for men, women, couples, and singles. I think that's greatly needed right now.
It's four different courses depending on what category you're in now. So we specialize it to the challenges you're facing right now in whatever form of relationship you're in.
That's awesome. So let's go to this couple of these questions. We don't have much time left. We've got about 12 minutes left. Okay. This hour has flown by, John.
I know.
It goes so fast. To come back again. Will you come back again?
Yes, I will. I love this whole, yeah.
Awesome. Great. We'll make sure that we arrange that. So somebody says, I read your book back in the day, and it was such an eye-opener. I'm assuming this is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, okay? Lately, though, it's getting harder, as lately many are apparently migrating to other planets.
Yes.
So what advice can you give this person who, I don't know if this is from a man or a woman, but what advice can you give them that would bring them back? I think you've already done a lot of that.
Yeah, pretty much I'm talking about that we're way out, we get way out of balance. How to come back into balance is just knowledge, like just knowing that, hey, guess what? There's a door over there. You don't have to walk through the back door. And once you know it, then it's easier to make the transition. However, it will never feel natural in the beginning. Eating too much ice cream feels natural. Falling out of balance feels natural. And we can't trust our feelings. You see, so many people are putting such emphasis on, if I feel it, it's real. It's true. What you feel is real, but what you could be feeling is based upon a belief or a thought that is completely wrong. And when we're out of balance, our feelings are out of balance. If it's not coming from a place of love and self-esteem and clarity, if you're suffering in your life, that's your feelings are not happy and fulfilled. It's because something in your life is out of balance, and just following these simple instructions. And what I want to say is that there's so many great tools. I was listening to a commercial about this and that, just hearing the stories of other people, that's called mentorship. Hearing from other people, how they've gone through things, that's called education. And you'll see more and more women will do that. Why? Because when you're depending on others to guide you in your life, you're producing estrogen if you're trusting them. But for men, it will make testosterone if they're aware that this is a strategy and this is something I can use to achieve a goal. You see, it's something I can use on my own and achieve a goal. So it serves a purpose, and it's so important. We have all these amazing tools. What I've done is done what nobody's ever done before, because we didn't have the science to explain the biology of love and sex and all that I've been talking about, and bring it all down. If this strategy is making you happy and you're a woman, it's because it's producing estrogen. Like when you, Teresa, did that amazing serenity prayer and the other words you said. And that was something that comes out of you.
Yes.
Just inspired me so much just to hear that. I felt love. I was just like feeling so much. That was a surge of estrogen. You see, that different activities will produce different hormones, as I started out. And so what we want to do is have a clarity of go right or go left. At the time we're too far left, go right. Then you can start finding your balance. And if you're not finding your balance, it's usually you're following your feelings rather than an awareness of consequences of following my feelings that are not making me happy or getting me what I want.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of women have a hard time making time for themselves. I'm one of them, because I've got, I get certain feelings when I'm helping people, do their books, especially children's books. I have certain feelings that I'm talking about that come to the surface when I'm talking about the ministry that I'm a part of, and then, okay, so the day is gone. Now, where was the time for me? So,
it's learning the art. It's like, this is what we've learned in psychology that has been good, is for women, if they can just talk about what they're feeling to somebody who's truly validating and understanding where you're coming from, then you'll make a lot of estrogen. The downfall of psychology is you have a 50-minute session, 30 minutes goes to just sharing. Maybe 10 minutes of that is really going into the emotion of what you're feeling, listening to what's going on inside. Then accountability. What can I do about it? Many therapists today are just pity parties, and it does feel good, but it's an addiction to just feeling your problems rather than feeling the emotional reactions within you with the intent to let them go. And how do you let them go? It was like turn the iron into gold. Every negative emotion has a positive emotion on the other side. But if you're busy, we don't notice all those little emotions that are going on, and they compound. It's learning how to listen. And even for me, just keep my female side in balance with my male, I will do what I call in the book a Venus talk. The Venus talk is where you listen a little deeper. Like I could check in right now and I'm a little frustrated. My dog's stuck in the house right now. I'm concerned. Okay, just in the background, I'm concerned that she's not getting enough time because I'm working a lot today. I'm disappointed that my partner, who I'm in a relationship with now, is in China and she's not here because she could be taking care of the dog. I'm frustrated because that dog keeps nipping at, it's a little puppy, at my hands, and I'm not a master of teaching her how to do that. It's a process. So then, frustration, disappointment, and concern and embarrassment. I have to go to embarrassment. And I go, I got a little spot right here from a fever blister. I'm a little embarrassed by that. But while I'm talking, I'm not aware of any of that stuff. And but if I was stressed, I could just take some time to connect with those feelings: frustration, disappointment, concern, and embarrassment, powerful emotions. then what I like and what I want, and then what I'm grateful for. I'm so grateful to be doing this talk with you. I'm so grateful to have a message to give to the world. I feel happy I get to do what I want, which is I love teaching, and I'm confident that I can do a good job. And I'm proud of myself for all the wonderful achievements behind me.
Yes.
So,
and I think the gratitude piece is huge in this conversation, because, and I will talk to you about this. I'll send you an email about this. I'm putting together a book called The Daily Gift of Gratitude. And
it's so important, particularly for women. It's our female side. For our male side, we need to set goals. Whenever you set a goal, you activate the brain to make testosterone. And whenever you're acknowledging that I appreciate, I'm happy, and I'm grateful for, you're making estrogen.
Right, exactly. But it's, I would love to have your voice in there. We'll talk about that more.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's somebody else. I'm living in senior housing. I have girlfriends who still seek a man. There's a real shortage of them at this age. And I lost the love of my life, and I don't think I could ever get involved again. Still.
I understand.
Do you have any advice to catching a man that I can share with my friends? She says.
I think you should catch a man to share with you as well. I think that's your smile. So there's a book called Starting Over, Mars and Venus Starting Over. I think it's a wonderful book. And I know how painful it is to lose a spouse that you bonded with so deeply. And, for some people, even they're happy their partner's no longer with them after a divorce, you still bonded deeply. A dream died. There's a huge disappointment. There's a hurt. There's a sadness. It's a lot of ways we try to avoid that, as opposed to going right into that, learning how to feel it and let it go through many waves of healing, and taking action to be in a relationship with a man again. And what you can do theoretically, on the scientifically averages now, statistically, men get involved sexually with somebody within 3 years, for women, 9 years, and many don't. And so don't think about having sex with a guy. Just think about having a guy do things for you. What you need to know, here's a little insight, all that book's filled with them. One insight is that for men's testosterone to go up, all they have to do is be in the presence of a happy woman. If you're happy due to something a man has done for you, you have already given him a gift. Don't feel obligated. See, a part of women dating, I don't want to feel obligated to a man. And if he wants sex, I don't know how to say no. You can always say, I would love if he's pushing for that. You say, I love for that, but I actually, my body would say yes to that, but I need to take time. I like to take time. Here's 3 things I'd like to do next week. Would you pick one and take me? Learning how to ask for help from men. That's how you motivate men. Otherwise, you just got these unmotivated guys who think about themselves because they're with a woman who's thinking about him. You see, that's called codependence.
Exactly. I was just going to say, isn't that codependence, John?
That's how codependent, and women are so codependent. They just think about others, not themselves. And men, when they're with a codependent woman, the man is not going to be thinking about himself and not her. And that's what we're calling narcissism.
Exactly.
Women have to start thinking more about them and realize, see, women want to give, they're loving people. So they don't realize that when you take from a man and appreciate it, you're giving him the greatest gift you can give a man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just touch real briefly, because we only have 2 minutes left. Just touch real briefly on menopause and how that affects women.
Well, thank you so much. It's very normal that women have a big drop in estrogen, but it doesn't mean they don't have enough estrogen to be happy and fulfilled and enjoy sex up into their 80s. And that's maybe I'm beyond that. I just know women in their 80s that have orgasms, but not that often, because once you no longer get your estrogen from your ovaries, I mean, you have to find a physical response. You do things that are more in touch with getting support, feeling safe. Estrogen goes up. We've talked about that. But after menopause, often women can't make enough estrogen for a while because they have what's called adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue occurs with sleepless nights, doing too much, being on your male side. So there has to be a period of time before those hormones are really going to kick up to where you're going to feel like I get turned on by a guy and I want to make love, or I'm really happy in my life. I've got energy and aliveness. That comes with your estrogen, but you have to start doing more of the things in this book. Even though you may not feel like doing them, doesn't feel natural because you want to go take care of everybody. You have to start doing these things that make you happy. And that will lower your adrenal, will start getting the fuel it needs. And on a biological level, really high doses of vitamin C for about 3 months, MSM, a supplement you can buy in health food stores, and those two are really, when you're stressed out,
Wonderful.
your sulfur levels go down. So those two things are really helpful to get your adrenal gland producing DHEA. And what you can do, I don't suggest taking hormones, although they all do. That's up to people want to do that. But one supplement I like for women at menopause is a DHEA supplement. It's over the counter. You can do that one.
Yeah.
And there is one, Estro-G. Estro-G has been scientifically proven that women are going through menopause that take away within a day or a month to take away hot flashes. Everybody. So all this hot flashes, wanting divorce, getting mad, being unhappy, all that, and drying down south. Estro-G. So many companies sell Estro-G. It's been proven. It's from Korea.
John, thank you so much. We are out of time. I'm so sorry we have to cut this short, but I'm definitely going to have you back again. I'm going to send you an email. We'll get that figured out. But for all the listeners, please, the newest book, Beyond Mars and Venus. It's important. We'll see you next time on Conversations.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our producer Rachel and to our station owner Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy.